Hello. Today we are going to understand what does Aristotle believe is a tragedy? What are the factors that make a composition a tragedy? He said tragedy is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude in language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play in the form of action, not of narration, through pity and fear, affecting the proper purgation of these emotions. This definition must be understood with an explanation of the component parts put in the definition. So let us begin. What then is tragedy? Tragedy, first and foremost, is an imitation. Aristotle does not deny the fact that tragedy is an imitation. He says it is an imitation. It is a thing that has happened. The subject matter of a tragedy is an action that has happened. But then the poet, the maker, has made it his own. He changes some parts of the actions in such a way he creates and reforms the action in such a way that it does the purpose of moving us, of making us better human beings. So it is imitation, it is instinctual, and it brings pleasure. It is imitation of an action that is serious. Now, what does he mean by serious? Serious is something that is universal in impact, which is accepted universally as being of great import. The tragedy is serious because whether it happens to you or to me or to Oedipus Tyrannus will have the same implications. And that the action that is committed must be really such of such importance as should be touching the personalities of each and all of us. So serious, it cannot be a trivial thing like you slap someone and you try to make a tragedy out of it, is just not possible. Serious is an occurrence that is irreversible. You cannot reverse that. That is serious. Tragedy also has the component of being complete. By complete, Aristotle meant that a tragedy must have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It is not necessary for a tragedy to portray the person, to imitate the person right from the beginning of his life. It is complete when it begins with the commitment of error. It grows and matures in the natural outcomes of the commitment of error, that is, reversal of fortune of the protagonist and realization of error, which form the middle. And there should be a convincing end that brings the tragedy to a round off. That is, the end is that after which nothing is needed to be explained. So, a tragedy is complete only when it begins with inertia, mellows up with anagnorisis and peripety, forming the middle, and which ends with the death of the protagonist and the catharsis. That makes a tragedy complete. Of a certain magnitude. By the expression certain magnitude, Aristotle means that a tragedy shouldn't be too very long as not being assessed in a single sitting, nor should it be too short that it does not allow for the maturation of action, the erroneous action. So, of a certain magnitude means he has said that it should be as far as possible within a single revolution of the sun. By the word revolution, we should understand that in ancient ages, it was the sun that was supposed to be going around the earth and not vice versa. So, the tragedy will have its impact only when it allows for the maturation of the action and a proper assessment through the growth of individual parts. That is, the beginning, the middle, and the end must be convincing enough. Now, the language. This is the diction element of tragedy. The language must be embellished, beautiful language. Since the tragedy is a serious action, it must also have a language appropriate to it. So the language should be beautiful with each kind of artistic ornament. The language should be artistically woven. It should evoke at every point of time the required passion. The several kinds being found in separate parts of the play. The parts of the play are the dialogue that can be written in any form, and the choric part, the function played by the chorus to present the spectacle through the song. That is the different part, the part where one has to use iambic pentameter, that is a form that is suitable to poetry. Now, tragedy should be enacted, should be imitated in the form of action. Tragedy cannot be narrated. If you narrate that there was a man and he did this, and after the commitment of this error, did he undergo this change in his fortune, and this is how he came to his tragic end, might not convince us, because the catharsis will come into existence only if it is enacted before our eyes. The protagonist comes and presents himself to our eyes. And when we are seeing him, he acts in such a way, he has such a serious message to convey, he has such a complete message to convey through his actions, that when we see him fall from that goodness to the commitment of error, we go with him. We feel with him what he is experiencing. Narrative will not perform the function. And narratives generally in those ancient times were involved in epics. Since epics were about the whole life of characters that embodied goodness, characters that embodied evil, and it was a very long battle. This long battle could not be enacted on the stage in one go. So, which he said that in a certain magnitude, in one sitting, it should be done. So, it should be through actions. and narrative might not be able to evoke the passion experienced by the protagonist and by the other characters, and that experienced by the protagonist internally, and the external portrayal of that, external translation of the act into a concrete action. Unless that is done, tragedy might not have any impact. So when he acts, he evokes among us pity and fear. Already I have discussed in my previous lecture the, the term catharsis, that is purification. So a tragedy aims at generating in the minds of the audience the very human feeling of pity. When you see the characters doing something on the stage so effectively that the idea, that the emotion of pity is evoked, thereby the function of tragedy is performed. It is only because of pity that we are human beings. If we can go close to someone who is suffering, if we can be empathetic to his sufferings, only then is the performer successful, and the audience also is given the vaccine of the emotion of pity. We pity him. We see him when he has acted and when he has used good language. And he has shown an action that is serious and completely and in a certain magnitude, then the evocation of pity comes. We pity him. We feel that had it not been for this error, he might have enjoyed prime of his life forever and forever. And the second emotion is fear. When we see the good person, such a nice person, suffering, falling from happiness to misery, we feel fear. This is the emotion of withdrawal from going back, shirking away from commitment of this error, which has caused the person to fall to this misfortune. We fear for ourselves. We fear that if at all and ever we commit this mistake, what should be our fate? These evocation of pity and fear, they affect the proper purgation of these emotions. Purgation, the most important and vital philosophical purpose of the tragedy. What is purgation? Purification. It is believed a poet, when he writes down a tragedy, he is with a conviction that each human being suffers from some weakness or the other. We need to be cleansed of that. We need to be purified of this weakness of ours. So, the tragedy which imitates a person who performs a serious actions, who performs it completely, giving it a legitimate beginning, maturing it in a middle, and completing it with an end, and with a magnitude that allows for the action to grow from error to death, is that magnitude. And when he is dignified in his language, and this dignified language brings about beauty in the dialogue and the choric part, and is put into action and not narration, thereby evoking pity and fear. So we the audience are also purged. And the one who had fallen from happiness to misery rise in greater esteem for us. So, this is the definition of tragedy which Aristotle documented as an answer to the objection raised by his teacher Plato, and who, as a realist, has said that even when a tragedy imitates, it deviates from the original course of action, but then it is for a grander purpose, the purpose of purging people of their emotions that cause them weakness. Thank you.